All right, let's take a moment to check in, check inside. We are always checking outside, and now we have an opportunity to check inside. So what does it mean to check inside? We notice, we take our attention off of the external world just for the moment. And we take our attention off of a future orientation, our strategies, our plans, and we put it on ourself, not in a selfish way, but as a way to help us to concentrate. And the Bhagavad Gita, which we've been looking at, has some helpful things to say about that. This is chapter 6, verse 12. Then sit and calm the mind and senses by concentrating on one thing. Right? Then sit. So sit down, concentrate. It says calm the mind and senses. Calm the mind and senses. So a question that might come up immediately for us is how? How do we calm the mind? This verse doesn't give detail on that. And for some people, you might not need that much detail. You simply calm the mind down. Calm the mind or rest the mind. And it says not just the mind, but the senses. So the eyes, the ears, the nose, all of it, especially the eyes. Right? The eyes lead us to the world around us. And it's important to take care of the world around us, but usually our eyes distract us from what we really need to be doing. And so for the moment, we want to calm the sense of sight down, not be so distracted by flashy things, and return to the ordinariness of sight, right? That's how we calm sight down. Just ordinary, we see the green grass in front of us. We see the green grass, or we see a wall, or we see the floor or the ceiling. These are ordinary things. Calm the mind and senses. And how do you do that? Actually, it does give us some information here. Concentrate on one thing. Concentrate on one thing. A distracted mind is one that's not able to concentrate on one thing. And so take that in for a second. So what are we concentrating on? Let's start out by concentrating on one thing. Let's concentrate on physical sensation in our body. Thus you practice yoga for self-purification. What does it mean to purify the mind? This is not just about getting clean, but to purify the mind is to focus on one thing. That's all that means. Purifying the mind, focusing on one thing. Those are synonyms. And focusing on one thing. For now, let's concentrate on bodily sensations. Concentrate on bodily sensations. This is how we calm the mind and the senses down. Notice your own bodily sensations. You can begin by noticing sensation of where your body contacts the ground underneath you. You could feel the weight of your body, the sensation in your legs. You could feel where your hands are touching your knees or your lap. Feel that contact. You could feel the sensation of your skin against your clothing. This is concentrating on one thing. You could explore the sensations in your back that keep your spine upright. And then as you think about your posture, maybe you find a way to improve it, to lengthen up your spine, to be a little taller. And drawing our attention towards physical sensation in our body. And now transitioning a bit to posture, right? So focusing on posture, lengthening up the back. Sucking the chin a little bit. Okay, maybe we could begin to circle our shoulders around. You could circle the other way. And all the while focusing on those physical sensations in the shoulders. This is how we calm the mind down, by focusing on sensation in the shoulders. And then circling our chin. Circle our chin. Calming the mind down by focusing on sensations in your neck. Focusing on sensations in your neck. Okay. All right, let's lift up our arms like helicopter propellers and just begin to turn our spine a little bit. And you can hold on to one knee, twist, go over to the other side. Don't twist. Feeling sensation in the spine. All right, let's transition to our hands and knees. Notice any internal shifts as you transition to your hands and knees, right? This is a different way of being here on our hands and knees. And it might feel a little bit awkward, especially if you're doing it for the first time. I know none of you are, but think about the awkwardness of this particular, this is a posture called tabletop, right? And then we just continue with cat-cow. Feeling your spine as it moves, as it undulates through the back, like a wave on the ocean undulating. Allow the breathing to guide you. Breathing in to lift the chin, breathing out to lower the chin. Okay, and then let's extend the left leg and the right arm. Extending out the left leg and the right arm. Hold. Strengthen the back muscles here. Just reaching out with the right arm and the left leg. See if you can draw your left leg like as though you were pushing your foot against the wall, your left foot against the wall. Pushing that wall away from you. Pushing the wall in front of you with your right hand. Reach. Push. Okay, and let's gently lower the right hand and the left knee. Extend out the opposite leg and arm. Pushing against the wall Imaginary wall behind you and in front of you, pushing against it. And gently lowering back down. Let's curl the toes under the feet and lift the knees. Locking the heels in place. Stretching the calf muscles. Stretching out the calf muscles. One at a time. Feeling the backs of the legs. So we're focusing on sensation in the body as a means to calm the mind down. Okay, and let's step the feet to the hands. Keeping the hands on the ground momentarily. You can bend the knees if you need to do that. So let's shake the head a little bit. Let the neck muscles be loose as you shake the head back and forth. You can turn your head as if you're saying no. Just feel that looseness in the, or feel the sensations in the neck as you wiggle your head around. Take a deep breath in. Exhale nice and slow. Lift the head halfway. Use your hands on your legs to help lift. Right? Slowly straightening the knees and extending the spine. Ears coming away from the shoulders. And then standing. Take a nice, easy breath in. A little slower breath out. Feel the sensations in the body. Now we've transitioned from being on all fours to standing up. So calm the mind by focusing on sensation in the body. Right? Feel your hands as they're suspended from your wrists. Your arms as they're suspended from your shoulders. Right? Lengthening up the spine. Notice the pressing of your rib cage against your clothing. Drawing the shoulders slightly, just very slightly back and down. Hands are slightly away from the body so they're not touching the body. Feel the space between your hands and your legs. Feel the sense of space between your hands and the sides of your legs. Okay. Let's bring the hands together, bending the elbows, step up to the front of your yoga mat. Okay. Reaching forward, lock the thumbs, stretch out the shoulders here. As you lock the thumbs, you can feel the upper parts of the shoulders getting a nice stretch by straightening the elbows and holding on to those thumbs. Straighten the elbows and feel that stretch across the top of the shoulders. Reaching the arms up, overhead, and bending back, squeeze the buttocks and press the hips forward as you lean back. And let's fold forward. Slowly feel those sensations in the back as you come forward, noticing your back. Right. Hands gently come down towards the toes. Feeling the backs of the legs, stretching here possibly. When we fold in half like this, there could be potentially a lot of feeling there in the backs of your legs. Shake out the head a little bit. Take hold of the backs of the legs with your hands and draw the head in towards your knees. Right? Feel what you're feeling in your physical body. This is how we calm the mind. Okay, and let's bring the hands down. Step the left foot back. Lower the knee. Lift the head. All right, a little stretch of the hips here. Slide the right foot back. Palms flat. Lift up the knees. Coming into downward dog. The eyes, we look back at our legs, look back at our knees or toes, could be an anchor. Drawing the heels down. Again, feeling the backs of the legs opening up here. Bend the knees, lower them down. Bend the elbows, come down. Adjust your posture here as you're laying on your front side. Bring the elbows in. Bring the elbows in so you feel the sides of your body. And as you lift up your head, as you lift up the head, the back muscles get engaged. Let's curl the toes under, push into the hands, lift up and back. Right? Maintaining mindfulness, mindful awareness of the body in that process, in these transitions. Okay? Looking forward, left foot steps forward. Lower the right knee. And let's gently allow the hips to open up here. Not forcing any stretching here. Just allow the hips to open up. If there's pain, just stop, pause, and allow the muscles to soften around the hips. They will. They will soften. Right? And then stepping the right foot forward. Lifting up halfway. You could hold on to your legs here or release your hands. This is one way to do it. Right? So you're supporting the lift of your back with your hands on your legs. And this really opens up the backs of the legs here too. Now you could also do this unsupported, right? So this requires a little bit more attention to the back, a little bit more balance, shifting the weight forward. Okay, and then come up. Let the eyes lower down. Right. Regaining awareness of posture. Arms lift overhead, lock the thumbs, and bend back. Squeezing the buttocks. Only going as far back as you feel comfortable going. And then the palms come in front of the heart. Okay, let's try number 2. Sweep the arms up. Fold forward. Try to make this next one a little bit more fluid. Bending the knees, right foot steps back. Looking up. Stepping the left foot back. Tailbone lifts higher. You can come onto the toes of your feet. And then lower the heels. Bend the knees. And lower the torso. Exhale, fully inhale, lift up the head, neck, and shoulders. Exhale, lift up the tailbone and the knees, lower the head. Inhale, right foot stepping forward. Lifting the chin gently. Exhale, the left foot forward. Come on up. Take your time. Arms overhead, lock the thumbs, bending back. And palms come together as the elbows bend. Okay. Continuing to number 3. Reach the arms overhead. Inhale. Exhale and fold forward. Left foot steps back. Lift the chin. Right foot back. Lift the tailbone, lower the head. And bend the knees, bend the elbows. Come down, lift the head up. Stretch the abdomen. And lift the tailbone up as you lower the head. Left foot stepping forward. And right foot stepping forward. Make your way up to standing. Arms drift up to over your head, stretching up and back. And the palms bend, the elbows bend, palms in front of the heart. All right. Okay, now we ask ourselves that now that we're standing, what does the body, what could be helpful for our body right now? And for integral yoga, generally we do another 1 or maybe 2 standing poses. So the first one we can do, let's do something that strengthens our muscles, and warrior pose is always good for that. So making some space between our feet, bending one knee and reaching our arms out over our legs. And to strengthen in these yoga poses, we simply remain still. That's where the strengthening of the muscles comes from. It's a form of weightlifting. We are lifting the weight of our arms, and so we're strengthening our shoulder. We're strengthening our shoulders. And by bending one knee, we are engaging the muscles in our thigh, and as well as the muscles around the knee. So this is how we strengthen the muscles in yoga. There's stretching the muscles and there's strengthening the muscles. Warrior 2, what we're doing right now is we're strengthening those muscles. Keeping the body still requires the engagement of these particular muscle groups here. And holding maybe another 10 seconds if you can. And if you need a break sooner, please, by all means, don't hesitate. All right, now let's lower the arms as we straighten the knee. Feel that release that comes to the arms. All right, let the shoulders relax. Feel that release that comes from resting the arms and the leg. You might even notice your breathing deepens. Okay, now we're going to do a side stretch, triangle. Let's reach the arms out. Reach forward from the hips. I want to reach forward from the hip, from the low back or the hips. Slowly descending the right arm, or whichever arm you're working with there. For me, it's my right arm. Left arm comes up. This is a little bit of a stretch because we got our stretching that muscle in our right leg, the back of the right leg. You can play with your torso here, like how far forward to have your left hip. Some yoga teachers talk about turning this left hip up and turning the sternum up. I'd suggest, work with this and see how it feels in this leg here. Right? And you could also keep this hip stationary while you turn the upper part of your chest towards the ceiling or the sky, whichever. whichever it is. Okay, and then let's lower the top arm, raise the head, turn the feet to point in the opposite direction. Right, arms over the legs for warrior two on the other side. A distracted mind, generally speaking, is not a calm mind. So when we find ourselves distracted, we could probably also find that we're not calm. On the other hand, when our mind is one-pointed, focused on one thing, then we're probably feeling some degree of calm. There's always exceptions to these things, so don't take my words as absolute. Just focusing here on the muscles in our arms, shoulders, and leg. Feeling that work here. All right, and let's come back up to stand. Rest the arms. Take time to notice the change or shift in how the arms feel. Notice any changes to your breathing pattern. All right, let's reach the arms out again over the legs, reaching forward in such a way that we maintain the integrity of our low back. Opening up this rib cage. Right, one thing you can do to help you open up the rib cage is to lower the right hand down towards the leg and then reach it up. So you get a sense of how much you can open up your ribs towards the ceiling or the sky. And then coming up to stand. Let's bring the feet together. Find your balance in the process. Sometimes we lose our balance as we change postures. So whenever we find ourselves losing balance, that's just a sign to perhaps slow it down a little bit. So we're coming into standing. Take some time to bring your awareness to physical sensation in the body. Noticing yourself. We're studying ourself. This is one of the things that Zen Master Dogen said, what Zen practice is. To study the way is to study the self. So we're studying the self here. All right, let's go ahead and lay down on our backside. We're studying the self, not in a narcissistic way. That's a very important distinction to make. Resting on our backside. Notice any changes to your breathing. You might notice your body more fully relaxed here as you're on your back. And just allow yourself to relax. Disengage the muscles in your face, in your back, your arms, your legs. And then let's go ahead and roll over. And keeping in mind that with integral yoga, which is the kind of yoga we're doing right now, with integral yoga, You can spend as much time on your back side as you'd like. So if you want to be resting on your back in Shavasana for longer than I do, that's also an option. But right now, I'm going to transition over to Advasana, abdominal resting pose. See if you can find some comfort as you rest on your front side. Feeling the feelings in where your body is making contact with the ground. Feeling those feelings where your body is making contact with the ground. Let's place our hands under our shoulders and our elbows into our sides, our feet together, forehead to the mat, lifting up the head. So we transition to the back strengthening poses of the day. Cobra, number 1. Very light touching into the hands. You could lift your hands off the ground if you wish. Here, let's lower the head down for a moment and rest the back. Come back into Advasana, the abdominal resting pose. When our mind is not calm, you can ask yourself the question, am I distracted? And if the answer to that question is yes, then you could also ask yourself, then what can I put my attention on? What one thing can I put my attention on in this moment? And for us right now, what we're focusing on is physical sensation in our body. Okay, let's do number 2. Bringing the hands under the shoulders, elbows into the back, feet together, lift the head, coming up as high as you feel comfortable. And this little variation, turn the head, looking over one shoulder, coming back to center, and then turning and looking over the other shoulder. And back to center, and resting the head. Coming back to Advasana. All right, let's extend the arms out like airplane wings, and then lift the head and arms up. Holding here. Feel those muscles in your shoulders, your shoulder blades engaging. Check the chin. Check the distance between your chin and the sternum. Remember that you have some choice here as to how much space to have there between your chin and your sternum. There's not a right answer for us. There's a right answer for you, though. What's the optimal distance between your chin and your sternum? Okay, let's lower the arms and head and rest in Advasana. Okay, we're reaching our arms out once again, lifting them off the ground, lifting our head up, and now this time lifting our feet off the ground too. See if you can lift your knees off the ground. So kind of balancing on our abdomen here. Legs are up off the ground, the arms are off the ground, the head is off the ground. The distance between your arms and the ground is up to you. Same with your feet and the ground. How much space between your feet and the ground is up to you. Okay, and let's lower down. Rest. Notice any shifts in your breathing pattern. Let's try half bow pose. So we're going to bend one knee, reach back behind you, the same arm, grab your foot or ankle or pant leg, push it in, push your heel in towards your glute, and then push your foot into your hand. Lifting the knee if you can. Lift your knee off of the ground here. Try to keep your knees as close to each other as possible. We are keeping our head up thanks to our opposite arm. Forearm of our other arm is on the ground in front of us so that we can help to keep our head and shoulders lifted. So we're focusing on that back leg, lifting the knee off the ground. All right, let's lower that knee, release it, and switch over to the other leg. Reach back behind you. Let's give the thigh muscle a little stretch here. Push it down. Push the heel down into the buttock. And then push the foot into the hand, lifting the knee up. Try to keep the knees closer together. Holding. Lifting the knee off the ground. And then gently lowering it down. Release the foot. Let's stretch one arm over our head, roll to one side, recenter onto your mat, on your back. And rest. Rest your backside, all the muscles in your back. Maybe taking a little bit deeper breath in. Let's take some time to rest our body. Okay, and lifting our feet off the ground, let's take the knees in towards the ribs and rock a little bit, really gentle. No need to do this too aggressively. We're just very gently rocking left and right to begin to stretch out those low back muscles, just very gently. We don't want to stretch our low back muscles out too much. It's real easy here. If you want to focus on stretching something out, we can stretch out the hamstrings. In fact, let's do that now. So let's stretch out the left leg and take hold of the toes of the right foot, or use a strap here around the ball of your right foot, or a towel if you have access to a towel, or even a shirt. You can wrap around the ball of your right foot and then stretch that leg up towards the ceiling, holding on to the strap or the toes, whatever works for you. Being careful not to shake, not to have the muscles shaking. It's maybe a sign we're going a little too far. Just gentle, easy here. Remember to breathe. It can be quite a painful experience to stretch the hamstring, so remember to continue to focus on sensation to help calm the mind down. Okay, and when you're ready, go ahead and switch the legs, bend the left knee, bring it in, stretch out the right leg. Right, and Same thing on the other side. Let's stretch that foot up towards the ceiling or the sky, wherever you happen to be at. You can close your eyes. If your eyes are distracting, then close them. If your eyes are a distraction, then close them. If what you see is a distraction, then close your eyes for the moment. Stretching the left leg. Okay, and let's bend that left knee, stretch it out, reaching the arms over the head. Take a deep breath in and hold it. Draw yourself up to seated. Okay. Now we've made a big transition here. We've done several things on our in a resting posture, and now we're transitioning to a seated posture. So let's check in with our body and our minds, whatever feelings might be coming up right now, to acknowledge what's there. We don't have to create any stories about it. We're just noticing how we're feeling, how our body's feeling, how wakeful or not wakeful we are. There's not a right way to feel in yoga. We're just simply noticing what we notice. And whatever you're feeling right now is totally okay. All right. So let's stretch out the right leg. This is a similar stretch to what we just did, just kind of getting at it from a different angle. Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. Stretching out the right leg and turning the left shoulder so that it's kind of facing towards the right leg. Keeping the hands even so that the right hand isn't, say, for example, at your foot, where your left hand's at your knee. We're not kind of reaching with our right shoulder to try to touch our toes, but rather both hands are even, the same distance up the leg as the head comes down towards the knee. Really important piece of this that sometimes people forget in their efforts to grab their toes is the tucking of the chin, which really helps to open up the back side when the chin is tucked. Okay, and let's lift the head. Stock with how you're feeling. Remember, distraction is ever present. We want to stay vigilant as we transition to the other leg. Staying vigilant is really important in yoga practice if we want to keep it up. It's very easy to get caught in the mundaneness, thinking, oh, there's got to be something more to this than what I'm doing. What we're doing is pretty mundane. We're just simply leaning our head towards our knee. That's it. Okay, and then coming back up to seated. Let's do boat pose. This is another strengthening pose for the abdominal. This is specific towards the abdominal region. So whether you want to hold on to your knees or not is up to you. Leaning back. If you want to keep your feet on the ground or not, that's up to you as well. Right? We can start to experiment here. Just engaging those core muscles. And through holding the pose, however we choose to hold it, we are strengthening that abdominal region. Right? So see if you can hold this pose in such a way that you can maintain it for the next 30 seconds or so. And that means if you need to put your feet down, then go ahead and do that. If you need to hold on to your knees, go ahead and do that. But we want to do the pose in such a way that we can maintain it for the next 15 or so seconds. Right? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's lower the feet, the hands, sitting back up. Checking in with yourself. Try not to pay too much attention to the I that experiences. Rather, pay attention to the experience. What is it that you're feeling? Don't get too caught up in the self that experiences. So Dogen Zenji, Zen Master Dogen, he says, to study the way is to study the self. And then he says, to study the self is to forget the self. Right? To study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. So we don't get too caught up in the I that experiences here. Let's stretch the legs out. Reach the arms overhead, lock the thumbs, extending up and fold over both legs. Allowing the shoulders to relax. Okay, and then coming back up to seated. Right? If you find yourself lost in thought, what do you do? The question to ask yourself. When you find yourself lost in thought, where do you place your attention? Okay, let's bring the right knee in towards the ribs, step the right foot over the left, wrap the left arm, right hand behind, and turn. You can also bring the right elbow to the outside of the knee if you want. Turn the body. Nice easy twist of the spine. Push off of the raised leg to help you turn. Adjust your hand behind your back to help balance. Look with your head. You can look over your left shoulder. You can look over your right shoulder. Give those neck muscles a little stretch. All right, let's come back to center and switch it out. Same thing on the other side. Take some time to breathe. Turn your head left and right a few times if you wish. And then come back to center. So that is the twisting portion of the class. All right, check in, see how we're feeling here. Transition now to Tell you what, let's do yoga mudra, the yogic seal, and then we'll transition to deep relaxation. So go ahead and take your hands behind your back, take hold of the right wrist, and begin to lower the head down, forehead to the mat, and breathe. Okay, let's slowly come back up. Letting this be the slowest movement of the class. There's no hurry. See the results of action. In yoga, we don't pay too much attention to the results of action. But here we have the opportunity to notice the results of our action. Right? What do you feel in your body? So let's extend our legs out and go right into deep relaxation. And not to be afraid if you feel sleepy in this process. Sleep is a normal function of the mind. So go ahead and lay down. Allow yourself to take in the deep rest, softening the muscles in your face, in your shoulders, in your arms, in your hands, throughout your ribs and your abdomen, down through your legs, knees, ankles, and feet. The whole body relaxing from head to toe. You might take a moment to notice the hairs on the top of your head, and the eyes in their sockets. Relaxing the muscles around the eyes, the tongue inside the mouth, the nose, the ears, the brain, the heart. You can continue on your own, observing different parts of your body. As you're observing them, perhaps also resting those parts of the body. Whatever you're noticing at this moment, just notice it, let it go. Let the next thing that you notice come into your field of awareness. Opening your senses to what is, sounds, thoughts, sensations in the body, feelings of ease or peace. All of those things can be incorporated into this moment. You can let go of focusing on one thing and simply open your awareness to what is. It's the difference between active concentration and selective concentration. In selective concentration, we focus on one thing. In active concentration, we allow the mind to be open and simply notice what comes in and out of the mind without attaching to anything. Let's practice active concentration. Just another 30 seconds here. And when you're ready, you begin to wiggle the toes and fingers, roll the legs and arms. And in your own time, come up to a seat. Again, take the time to notice this transition from laying down to sitting up. And see for yourself if this teaching from the Bhagavad Gita rings true or not. Then sit and calm the mind and senses by concentrating on one thing. Thus, you practice yoga for self-purification. All right, may that purification, that calming of the mind and senses be yours today. Please join me as we close and recite the closing dedication twice in Sanskrit and twice in English. You're welcome to recite these along with me. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the entire universe be filled with peace, joy, love, and light. Thank you all so much for your practice this day, and I hope to see you all again soon, hopefully this August. Take care, everyone.